thus browning the face of your naan as it gently falls into my hand while I nearly burn the ever-loving shit out of myself.
I've gotten a lot of requests on making this video, and today we're going to see how Joshua Weissman makes his tandoori chicken. If you are new, welcome to the channel. My name is James Makinson. I've been cooking for many years in the United States and over here in Europe, and I have plenty of other recipe videos and reaction videos on my YouTube channel. So if you do happen to enjoy this video, then please do consider liking the video down below, as this helps push the video to be seen, or pushes the algorithm to more people, so it's seen by more people. And please do consider subscribing, as it does help my channel out greatly, and I do appreciate it. Now, let's get started.
Today we're making a traditional tandoori chicken. I know I say, oh, traditional. Most of the time we hit the mark. Every once in a while it's like, maybe not so much, but we try. This one, we're going all out. I bought an actual tandoor, and it was extremely expensive, but I'm doing it to do justice.
Joshua actually bought a tandoori oven to make this recipe. Well, I have to give it to Joshua. I'm impressed.
We've got every element we need to make the greatest tandoori chicken of all time, as well as an alternative if you don't have a tandoor. So with all that being said, let's make this, shall we? All right, pal. We're not just slapping this chicken and goodies on a grill like all the basic tandoori recipes out there. I bought an actual tandoor. Am I pronouncing this right, by the way? Please let me know. I did this for you, but don't worry, I'll give you alternatives on how to make this without a tandoor. Let's begin with our prized possession, buttery garlic naan. Yes. Starting with half a cup or 112 grams of water around 95 degrees Fahrenheit, add 2 tablespoons or 25 grams of sugar, 2.5 teaspoons or 9 grams of instant yeast, whisk all that together until dissolved, then add half a cup or 112 grams of full fat yogurt, finally whisk in 3 tablespoons or 45 grams of vegetable oil, and 1.5 teaspoons or 11 grams of fine sea salt. In a large bowl, add 2.5 cups or 380 grams of bread flour, add in your yeasty, yogurty, creamy juices, nice, to your bread flour and mix by hand until you get a rough dough. Different flour brands are going to react differently, okay? So it might be a little dry, might be a little flake.
That's very true. You may get different results depending on what brand you're using, and some brands, well, in general, are better than others. Now, if you're not familiar with baking, Joshua today is using bread flour, also called strong flour. The difference between this and all-purpose flour is that this has more gluten in it.
Different flour brands are going to react differently, okay? So it might be a little dry, might be a little flaky, and if it's feeling a little Sahara-like, then you may need to add additional water about a tablespoon at a time until you get a nice cohesive dough. Need that for about 3 minutes by hand, or until your dough is beautifully smooth and extensible. Roll into a light bowl, grease a medium-sized bowl, plop that brother in there, cover with plastic wrap, and rise at room temp for 1 hour or in the fridge overnight. You want it puffy, festively plump, and nearly doubled. Now, since your dough is extraordinarily naughty, punch it down, teach it a lesson. Once it's degassed, pop it onto a lightly floured work surface and divide your dough into 8 even pieces. For those that are extra, like me, and you want it to be exact, then you want it to be 87 grams per piece of dough, give or take a few grams. Shout out to the metric system. I really appreciate the rest of the world that uses it.
I can say, after using both systems, I do prefer the metric system, especially in baking. It helps a lot.
Roll each piece of dough into a light ball and rest for 5 minutes. Now, flour a work surface and a piece of dough. Roll that out into 8-inch circles using a floured rolling pin. Should look something like this. If the dough is resisting your rolling, please just let it rest another 10 minutes before you keep going, okay? The dough's saying no, just give it a break. Anyway, once you've rolled out all of your pieces of dough, place on a plate and use pieces of wax paper to separate each piece.
For all my Indian viewers that make naan bread at home, how is Joshua doing with this recipe? Because to me, the recipe looks pretty good, but one thing that I did notice is that he's using instant yeast. And from our previous video with Chef Ranvi, a lot of you guys said that yeast is not an easy thing to get, and this is why Chef Ranvi was using a mixture of baking soda and baking powder in his pizza dough recipe. And if you guys haven't seen that video, then you should definitely go see it after watching this video here.
Now, a very quick, luscious garlic butter. Well, clarified butter to be specific. In a small saucepan, melt a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of ghee until hot, but not searingly hot. We're not frying over here. 200 degrees Fahrenheit if you're a stickler there as well. Josh, what is ghee? I don't know what that is. Okay, ghee is clarified butter. You can buy it at the store or you can make it, and we've done it before. You're welcome to use regular butter if you don't have it or you can't find it. Josh, what's the problem with using regular butter? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because butter contains a little bit of milk solids and water, then it may have the tendency to add a slight bit of sogginess to your naan. Is it permissible? Of course. But it's not perfect, and Joshi loves perfect.
What was that? Joshua's trying an English accent with this. I'm liking this video so far. He's doing a good job. He's being very entertaining so far.
Cut off the heat and add 3 cloves of very finely chopped garlic. Let that cool slightly and then add 1 tablespoon or 3 grams of very finely chopped cilantro. Now for the moment of truth. How do you cook in a tandoor? Well, we're gonna learn together, all right? Because this is actually my first time ever using one, so here we go.
I really hope that Joshua left in the bloopers with this video because it's not easy using a new system like the Tandoor oven. You can make quite a few mistakes.
Reminder, the alternative to this is coming, but why not enjoy this moment, okay? This tandoor wasn't cheap, so please enjoy. First, you need a nice hot wood coal base inside your tandoor. The goal is to get the part closest to the coals around 600 degrees Fahrenheit and taper to around 400 degrees Fahrenheit towards the top. Then you need a naan pillow, also called a gadi. Am I pronouncing that right? I'm trying, okay? I'm trying for you. Stretch your naan over your naan pillow. You don't want to go to sleep on it. Then quickly plant your naan directly on the surface of the inside of your tandoor. Really make sure to press against the wall so it adheres and sticks nicely. And watch this. Good Lord. Beautiful mountainous terrain erupts from the naan, getting it closer to the coal base, thus browning the face of your naan as it gently falls into my hand, while I nearly burn the ever-loving shit out of myself. It's very hot in there. In just a few brief seconds, it's done. Immediately brush that bad boy with your clarified garlic butter while it's still piping hot so it absorbs every last ounce of flavor. And now on for the non-tandoor homies.
Well, Joshua didn't show many bloopers. A couple things. One, Joshua said that this cost him quite a bit of money. Now, some of the tandoors that I've seen online cost around $1,000. They're not nice as this, though. So I'm actually curious to find out how much he spent on this because it looks like he did spend quite a bit. I think Joshua's done a pretty good job, but I think that if he made the naan just a wee bit smaller for the pillow, it would help stick more flatly to the side of the wall. And maybe if the naan was a little dry and it's not sticking, maybe add a little bit of water to help it stick to the side. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments.
You're gonna recreate the tandoor by heating a medium to large cast iron skillet over medium-high heat until hotter than a metal park bench sitting in the open sun. Get a rolled piece of naan, slap it in there. Once it's puffed nicely, about 30 to 40 seconds, simply flip and cook on the other side for another 30 seconds. Immediately brush with your garlic butter, pull it out, and that's it. Keep those bad boys warmed on a plate in the oven or covered with foil.
Yeah, for all my European viewers and American viewers, if you're thinking about should you get a tandoori oven or should you just use the pan recipe or the skillet, go with the cast iron skillet. It's much easier, much quicker, and you don't have to go through all the effort. Then again, if you want to go the authentic route like Joshua was doing today, then you can get a tandoori oven and try it for yourself.
Listen, this next part is extremely important. And no, it's not the chicken, it's the rice. Not only is Uncle Roger watching, the people are watching. Rice is one of the greatest things to grace this earth. So please, begin with 1 cup or 200 grams of aged basmati rice.
The last time that I checked, it said, or at least on Google it said, that rice is the most consumed product in the entire world. Pizza was the most popular dish, but rice is the most consumed.
Begin with 1 cup or 200 grams of aged basmati rice, which you irrefutably must wash. Do not negotiate with yourself. Once washed, heat 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of ghee in a medium-sized pan over medium heat. Once hot, add in your rice and a pinch of salt to taste. Toast stirring often for about 5 minutes or until you start to see some light golden hues intensify from the rice. Pour that into a rice cooker along with 1 cup or 225 grams of water. Of course, at this point, you can add cumin seeds if you like. Close the lid, turn on the rice cooker, and let it do its little thing. If you got a Zojirushi, it's going to play that good old-fashioned twinkle twinkle.
Uncle Roger, in the last video with Joshua, was very proud that he got one. Like, very proud. They do make life easier if you make rice like constantly, then I can see a reason of why you should buy one. Honestly, if you don't make rice enough or if you don't eat rice constantly, it's not hard to cook rice. I mean, honestly, it's not hard to learn how to cook rice properly. Then again, there's multiple ways on cooking rice. And if you have ever seen paella or a risotto, you know what I mean.
You'll be given the gift of lovely, fragrant rice. Now, we must run through 2 very important sauces before we get to our precious chicken tandoori. And thankfully, both can be done in 10 minutes. First, our raita. In a medium-sized bowl, add 1 cup or 140 grams of full-fat yogurt, the zest of 1 lemon, 2 tablespoons or 5 grams of finely chopped fresh cilantro, half a seedless cucumber finely diced, a generous pinch of ground coriander, a generous pinch of ground cumin, the juice of 1 lemon, and salt to taste. Whisk together, and that's it. It's tangy, salty, and more refreshing than the finest hydration supplement on the market.
Joshua made this recipe in his biryani video as well, and I think it's the same recipe. But anytime that Joshua makes a recipe, he usually makes a lot of other condiments with it. I mean, he puts in a lot of work with a lot of these recipes, and you can tell he puts in a lot of work. I'm really curious to find out who actually cleans and does all the dishes.
Moving on to green chutney. Again, stupid easy. In a blender, add 1 bunch or 80 grams of fresh cilantro, 1 cup or 15 grams of mint leaves, 3 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons or 25 grams of roasted peanuts, 2 serrano chilies rough chopped, a 1/4 inch knob of ginger peeled, 1 teaspoon or 1 gram of ground fennel powder, the juice of half a lime. Top your lid and begin blending on medium speed, adding water as needed to loosen, and just as soon as it starts to vortex, blend on high speed until as smooth as possible. Season to taste with salt, mix it in, and place to the side. For your tandoori chicken, yes, it's time. Ideally, you want to start this the day before, but you can do it the day of if that's all you got.
If you're doing it the day of, that doesn't mean to marinate it only for like 10 minutes. That means to do it for a couple hours so the ingredients actually penetrate the meat and you have more flavor, because otherwise it's a waste of products.
In a large bowl, add 1.5 cups or 336 grams of full-fat yogurt, a 1-inch knob or 23 grams of grated ginger, 5 cloves of garlic grated, a generous pinch of fresh ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons or 8 grams of coriander powder. Pause. Let me just explain. There's a lot of spices in here. That's okay. Chill out. And don't forget to subscribe. I hope you're having a fantastic...
And on that note, if you are enjoying the video, guys, then be sure to like the video down below. And if you haven't subscribed, then like Joshua said, please do. And I hope you're having a great day.
Anyway, 1.5 teaspoons or 13 grams of garam masala powder, 1.5 teaspoons or 9 grams of cumin powder, 2 tablespoons or 34 grams of Kashmiri chili powder, 2 tablespoons or 40 grams of kosher salt. Optionally, which you see this quite a lot in traditional recipes, about a half teaspoon of red food coloring. Whisk that bad boy in, and then finally whisk in 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of paprika, half a cup or 120 milliliters of vegetable oil, and whisk that brother until homogeneous.
Food coloring in the traditional recipe. For everybody that makes tandoori chicken, please let me know, do you use food coloring? Or do you use natural products like the chili powder to give it color? For me, personally, I don't think it was necessary. I think you could have added, say, more chilies to this, more chili powder, one that doesn't have a lot of spice or a lot of flavor.
Now let's talk chicken leg quarter, the iconic piece of chicken for tandoori chicken. Josh, what's a chicken leg quarter? Well, that's what happens when you remove the chicken leg and the goddamn drumsticks attached to the thigh. It's iconic, it looks great, and you can always cut it apart after cooking.
I'm sure that Joshua does get a lot of questions. I know I do. And I'm sure a lot of other YouTubers do. Sometimes when you have a question, a simple question, if it's a little more technical, that's fine. But if it's simple, instead of just using Google and searching it on Google, you spend the time to ask a YouTuber like Joshua, who is extremely busy, who can't respond to every single comment or question on his videos, but you're gonna spend the time to ask him a simple question that you could just do a Google search for in literally less than a few seconds.
Now the next part is a little unusual for us because I love the skin, but you're gonna need to wriggle your little fingy under the chicken skin and carefully peel it off all the way. Should come off quite easily actually. Repeat with 4 total chicken leg quarters, plop those into your marinade, coat those thoroughly, every little crevice, and ideally marinate covered overnight in the fridge, or you can cook them right away, it's fine. They just won't be as well flavored. Now for the tandoor method, you're gonna need one of these big tandoor skewers. Skewer your chicken running down the thigh bone and then out the drumstick. Repeat with all your chicken pieces. You may only be able to fit 3 depending on the depth of your tandoor, which means you'll have to do a separate one, it's fine. Then create a stopper by wrapping a long thread of cooking twine at the base of your last chicken leg quarter. Be sure to tie off your twine, by the way, so it's knotted.
Just keep in mind when you're making the bottom knot that you make it a little bigger so it doesn't slide down, and make sure it's at least high enough out of the flames so it doesn't burn. And as you can see, this is quite a messy job, very messy.
Then pop that bad boy into your tandoor and let it roast for about 15 to 20 minutes, moving it around to avoid burning until it reaches an internal temperature of 165 Fahrenheit and it's nicely charred in randomized spots. The other alternative would be to, well, cook this on a ripping hot grill or a grill pan. Heat up whichever of the two over medium-high until it's so goddamn hot you want to pull your hand back just looking at it. Now grease those grates or grill pan generously with oil, add your chicken and sear for 2 to 3 minutes or until nicely colored and charred. Flip and sear for 2 to 3 more minutes. Now if it's on a grill, close the lid of your grill, lower the heat, or you can toss your grill pan in an oven set to 375 Fahrenheit and cook for 8 to 10 minutes or until an internal temperature of 165 Fahrenheit is achieved.
One tip, guys, if you don't cook a lot of meat, a lot of steak or whatnot, and you don't know the temperatures, instead of guessing, because you are going to be guessing, I would highly suggest to buy a thermometer. That way you will know exactly what temperature your meat is at. But if you want to cook a steak medium, instead of doing this method and not knowing like, oh, is this medium, medium rare, whatever, you'll know what you have. It makes life a lot easier.
All that's left to do is get sauces and ramekins, plate up your rice, gaze upon the glistening naan, pop on a plate, get everything looking beautiful. Add your chicken leg quarters, shingled on a plate. Feel free to add some thinly sliced white onion and lemon wedges. Maybe a little fresh bundle of cilantro, why not? Pop's nice. And now we taste test. We've unveiled the mystery of tandoori chicken, and here it is. Wow. You're not gonna get a tandoori flavored chicken without a tandoor, right? I burned myself here. Was it worth it? Yeah.
So in the end, Joshua did burn himself. It's pretty easy to do. Normally in the kitchens, when you see the guy that's on the meat section, meaning that he does all the meats with the grills and everything else, normally he will have very little to no arm hair on his forearms, and you will see nothing but burn marks all up and down their forearms.
I know this is about the tandoori chicken, but this naan is like the main course. It's like buttery, flaky, it melts in your mouth. The chew is like, I can't even think of a term that solidifies how good it is. Obviously the rice is buttery, it's toasty, you get the fragrance from the basmati. Normally what I do is I put a little lemon on this, take a little piece of the chicken off there, you could put it with the naan or you can eat it straight up. There's a certain char that you will not get anywhere else. It's juicy, it's tender. We all like a nice chicken leg, and this is obviously one of the best ways to have it. Period. The one thing that we can walk away learning is that if you take the time to do things the right way, then you might just end up with something really dope. But you wanna know what else is dope? B-roll.
Overall, like always, Joshua does a really, really good job, and he went the extra mile in this video with getting the tandoori oven. The only thing for me was the color dye. Joshua puts a lot of effort into his videos, so I'm a little curious on who actually does all the dishes, because I know that he makes a lot of dishes. For all the Indian chefs watching, or for everybody that makes tandoori chicken at home, that uses a tandoor oven, that makes naan bread, let me know your thoughts down below on how Joshua did. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Be sure to give it a like if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so as well, because that helps my channel out greatly. And if Joshua is watching, I would love to do a collab with you, either back home in the US, or if you come to Spain, we can do one here as well. Let me know. And guys, if you want to stick around for another video, then be sure to click on this one coming up, and I will see you guys again soon. Until next time, take care.